Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently wondering if we have enough Delta V to get this thing landed. I think we do. I hope we do. I wish we do. We'll find out. So we're going to warp around at least until we're in daylight. So sometime around here-ish. And we don't have KER data, so that's going to make things very interesting indeed. We should get signal data here again soon, I think. Yep, there we go. We've got signal data. And now we're just going to, as soon as our warp is over, there we go. We're going to whip right on around to retrograde. Cool. We're going to park here. And let's see how this goes. It's going to be real interesting. So we're going to burn out all of this data, or rather all of this fuel. And then we'll detach that. And there we go. So we're killing our horizontal speed right now. That is our current target. I'm also going to turn on our brakes action group. We don't really have much for information, and that's very loud. We don't really have much for information right now on what our suicide burn values would be. I'm guessing we're kind of not doing well on the fuel requirements. But our horizontal speed is basically gone at this point. It's not quite gone. Oh, overshot that. Okay, we'll call that good enough for now. And we'll just park here, and we'll eyeball it. I'm real... I don't have a lot of faith in this right now. I'm going to be honest. We have 322 meters per second left. Actually, our surface speed isn't up all that high. We're currently about 3 kilometers up, so I'm going to do a braking burn here. I'm feeling a lot better about this all of a sudden. Okay, so we're just going to slowly decelerate here. We're about 2 kilometers up right now. I feel like we can let this drop for a little bit longer. We don't have any way to lock this onto the retrograde node, which is slightly exciting. Okay, we are about 1 kilometer up right now. And I'm going to cut our speed. There we go. That's a decent speed cut. So that brings us down to about 30 meters per second. And we're just going to continue to gently decelerate here. Coming down on some slightly rough terrain, possibly, but it should be okay-ish. Okay, something around like this. Decelerating our slowdown a little bit so that we're actually accelerating. And there we go. Now we're... Ooh, that was flickery. Okay. So we're about 200 meters up right now. And we just need to gently decelerate here. 9 meters per second right now. Okay. Just trying to hold us on that surface retrograde and slowing us down ever so gently. Okay. Things are a little spicy, but there we go. We landed on the surface. We can detach these anytime we want. Our brakes are currently on. So here we are on the surface. So there's our world first milestone of landing on the surface of the moon. It wasn't the prettiest landing in the world, but we landed with 14 meters per second to spare. So we'll take it. Touchdown confirmed. Any crash you can walk away from counts as a landing. That wasn't really a crash. It was a little faster and messier than I would have liked, but it ended up working reasonably well. So, we've got a little bit of Delta V left in these tanks, but I'm still going to detach them here. So we're going to detach those tanks. We don't need them anymore. There's basically no Delta V, and there's nowhere to put it. So we're going to do that. That does not seem to have disconnected these struts, which is interesting. Okay. And now we're sliding, which is also somewhat interesting. Now, this tippiness is to be expected. We're going to grab our temperature scan. We're going to grab our atmospheric pressure scan. For now, I'm going to feed both of those into this experiment storage unit. There we go. And, I mean, I want to turn us so that our wheels are a little bit more downhill so that hopefully our brake torque does something. That would be awfully nice. And we'll just park something along the lines of that. Oh, hey, those detached. But the rest of these haven't. You know what? This hasn't actually detached properly. We're still controlling the sparks here. That's intriguing. Are they accidentally attached here instead of being attached to the... Is it the strut connector? I'm not sure what they're attached to. They might accidentally be attached to the rover itself, which would be intriguing. But I'm just going to spin us here so that we are facing a bit more like this. Now we're rolling downhill, but our brakes are able to get that under control. These were definitely intended to be detached, but this is reasonably fine. So at this point, what do we need to do? Well, looking at the contract, let me just pull that on up here. Looking at the contract, we need to collect a sample and return the same probe to become Earth's satellite. So we've already collected the sample and we put that into the satellite here. So that is currently contained in this storage unit. Now, what I do want to do while we're here is I want to log our temperature and transmit that data. I also want to grab our barometer, which is over on this side, and transmit that as well. So we get that transferred data. Now, out of curiosity, I'm going to quick save here in case something horribly breaks. If we throttle up, are these engines still connected? They are. Okay. It didn't horribly break. I'm going to just shut them down. They must be attached to the struts, not to the decoupler. Well, that's very sad. But it's fine. It's completely and totally okay. So these engines are now all shut down, and we're not going to, if we throttle up, we're not going to accidentally fly off. So that's good. Now we need to return this into orbit of Kerbin. So, how are we going to do that? Well, first things first, we need to decouple and swap over and throttle up quite quickly. So that's going to be interesting. Okay, we ready for this? I think I have my hands in the correct position for it. Nope. There we go. I was expecting it to not stick with this, but that's fine. This is very sensitive. Okay. Oh, wow. That's really wacky. Okay, we want to get some altitude here for sure. Whoa, this is so sensitive. Okay, let's go ahead and turn down our wheel authority here down to like 5%. Okay, how's that feel? Oh, that's so much better. What is our apoapsis right now? 4 kilometers? I mean, we're going to need a little bit more than that for sure. Okay, this is offset thrust as well. So that's a big part of the problem, is this does gimbal. Okay, so we actually need the reaction wheel to be up. Oh, SAS is off? Oh, because it has no operational SAS modules and no pilots aboard. Ooh, okay, that's going to make things really wacky here. Okay, we're going to bring this down to 5% thrust. And we're just going to very, very gently burn here. I'm going to have to manually pilot this thing. Okay. So we're just going to burn about here until our apoapsis is... And I want to throttle up a little bit. But we're going to burn about here until our apoapsis is a little bit higher. Our main problem is that we can't turn on SAS. I forgot that you can't do that with the Staputnik for some reason. I don't know what the reason for that is, but you can't do that with the Staputnik. So that's fine. We're just going to get ourselves some altitude here. And all we need to do is become a satellite of Kerbin. So that is reasonably fine. Okay, we're just trying to hold this attitude. That's 10 kilometers there. So now we're holding attitude at the horizon, just in order to push this up a little bit and get ourselves horizontal speed. Cool. So we're going to be at 15 kilometers very soon here. This is very spicy. 14 and 15. Okay, that'll do. We'll hold here for the moment, and then we're going to, at this apoapsis, just add a maneuver and escape. Escape velocity like that. That's 301 meters per second. That is more than I expected it to be because we're overshooting it. Okay, that's fine. So all we need to do is something along the lines of this. 277.1 meters per second. I'm going to thrust limit this down to 5%. There we go. And we'll position here. And let's warp. We can't warp yet? Yeah, we can't warp yet, I think. Are we still too low? We're probably still too low. Can we? And now we're within the time limit. Okay, sure. So we'll just park here, and we'll warp manually. 40 seconds. 30. 20. 10. And commence burn in 2, 1, mark. Okay, and we just need to hold attitude here. It's going to be a pretty long burn time, unfortunately, at this thrust limit. But this is all because I forgot that the Stay Putnik is just absolutely terrible. No SAS allowed with Stay Putnik, even with an inline reaction wheel on here. So, it just is what it is. So we'll hold this attitude, and we're just working on pushing our apoapsis up. And the plan here is we just escape from the from the moon here. Once we've escaped from the moon, then all we need to do is just do a quick burn at the periapsis of Kerbin, and we don't really care about our final orbit. All we have to do is become a satellite around Kerbin. So that is absolutely fine. We do not have to re-enter, although we probably could. Delta V would be a potential concern there, especially with the inefficiencies that we've got going on with this burn. And our ascent burn. Especially our ascent burn. The ascent burn was very spicy. There's no doubt about that. We're about halfway done with this burn now. And we're able to hold this attitude at 5% pretty well. Just has to be done manually. Yeah, it's not too bad. About a minute left on the burn. My eyes leave this for 1 second here, and we've drifted for quite a ways. So that's exciting stuff. I'm just keeping an eye as best I can up here on our apoapsis. All we need here, all we need is an escape. It doesn't matter what the escape is. So that's all we're targeting. The moment we see an escape, we can save all of our remaining fuel. Beautiful. Any moment now on that escape. And we're not going to have a lot of fuel left for our burn, but it should be enough to clear the moon's orbit, which is all we're looking to do. And then this can become a comm satellite after that. Okay, that's very close. There, that'll do. So, we're now going to escape, and what is this orbit going to be after we escape? I mean, we're going to have another encounter with the moon. Oh, it's this here? Okay. If it's that, then we probably want to continue to push out this orbit a little bit. So I'm going to go back to prograde. We don't have a lot of Delta V left here. But there we go. That'll do. And then at this periapsis, all we're going to do is we're going to burn our remaining Delta V in what way? This is giving us another moon encounter here. That's obviously way too much DV there. So, instead, and this is a very awkward location that we got. I'm burning a little bit extra here. I'm just watching our meters per second here. I'm going to burn this down to 20 meters per second. Maybe not even that far. Okay. Something around here. And then our periapsis is just going to be dropped down. Yeah, this is more like what I was looking for. Cool. That is still giving us an encounter. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Maybe we should drop this periapsis slightly further. So we get rid of this maneuver. And we just continue to very gently burn here. Until we get this down to, I don't know, 7.5 million? Something like that. Somewhere around here. Then we burn 20 meters per second here. I mean, that's like 50. But we burn 20 meters per second here. And we just hope that we don't get recaptured and flung back out. We might eventually get recaptured and flung back out. That's probably still within the moon's sphere of influence, for the record. But that's all the delta V that we have. Well, we have a little more than this. This is 16.5. We can go up to about here. So that's what we've got. That's the best we can do, and I would consider that probably good enough. If we need to, we could do a refueling mission, in theory. Be kind of a wild refuel. But let's make our way on over. If we had Kerbals, I would say that we could get out and push to lower this apoapsis a little further. But I think that this is fine. So we're just going to hold here. It doesn't really matter when we do this burn. Periapsis is in 10 seconds. So T-minus 5 seconds is when we want to do this, actually. That would be the optimal time to do it. So we'll do it right now. And we're just going to burn all of our fuel retrograde here. Pure retrograde. Or as pure as we can get, anyway. And that's all of the fuel that we've got. So we're not currently seeing a moon recapture. It may or may not happen in the somewhat distant future. This only goes out so far. But I'm going to call that good enough for this contract. So what is the completion of this? This is considered a hard contract, and it is within the... this is within the system of Kerbin here. So a hard contract then gives us... Let's see here. I stated in... I've completely forgotten what my rules for this are. This doesn't specify the amount that we get. Let me double check here. I'm just checking in the description. It should be in there. Yes. So this is a high difficulty contract. So that rewards 1 million, but this is within the immediate Kerbin system. So that's divided by 10. So we get 100,000 for completion of this contract. Okay, fair enough. So we will hop into here. 100,000. Boom. That contract is now complete. Let's head back to the Space Center, and while that's loading, I'll move this into the complete category. There we go. And what else do we want to work on? We now have 4 missions that are accepted. That said, we have a lot of cash on hand right now. What do we want to do with all of this cash? Well, first off, I want to head into here and see what this exploration is. Rendezvous around Kerbin. We could think about that refueling mission that I was talking about. Do we have the tech for that? We'd need, like, the grab arm. Would probably be the one that we'd go for. I don't think we have the tech. Let's see, though. The interception would be an interesting one, to be sure. But if we were to go into here, we'd need to go to coupling. And yes, we don't have the tech. We would have to, like, bring a Clampatron along and install it. That would be really awkward. It's a theoretical possibility, but we might want to target something else for that. some other contract for that rendezvous. Is there another one in here that would be a good contract? The answer is no for doing a rendezvous. However, I wouldn't mind doing MVP's contract. Let me hop back to display capture here. I wouldn't mind doing MVP's contract here for the prison ship. It would have to be in retrograde and 10% of 200 kilometers on both sides. Any or all space trash should be kept to a minimum. So, I mean, only the pod can remain in orbit. We would not have anything else remain in orbit in theory. Probably. Okay, so which Kerbal would we want to do this for? And then we could maybe have another contract that I come up with afterwards where we rendezvous here because like his conviction has been reversed or something and we have to bring him back. That'd be kind of funny too. But for now, we could definitely work on building the prison ship. There's not really time to launch it this episode, but we'll base it off of this same booster that we've been doing. I definitely want to remember to bring this up to the white shroud here. So the boat tail should be correct. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So we would ditch this up here, right? Everything down, or rather above this, would be ditched. We don't need this. This is, of course, for MVPs. So, MV... If I can type here. Apparently I cannot type. Okay. Why can I not type? There we go. Nope. We're gone. MVP. There we go. Now we're going. MVP's prison ship. Cool. So, this is going to be probably automated. So, a Probodobodyne Octo would go on here. That would, of course, want a small inline reaction wheel. I would also toss in a battery bank here. And then we would put on, from here, we would need like a Mark I crew cabin. And then we would attach in like this. So this would be what would remain in orbit. These would not remain in orbit. And this could be fairinged, in theory. That wouldn't be a bad idea. So we could definitely put in a payload bay here. So 1.25 meters and something like this so that he doesn't know exactly what's going on, right? I do not like that fairing. Let me rebuild that fairing. That was a terrible fairing. So we would have it be something a bit more like that. Cool. So he doesn't know what's going on. And who would be in this? Well, it would probably end up being someone that we hire in specifically for this. We do need power generation. There's no doubt about that. So we would put in our photovoltaic panels. I'm going to do 4 of them. We definitely don't want the power going out on our prison ship. That would be bad. So we're going to put in 4 photovoltaic panels. What else would we need on here? We would need some form of communications. This doesn't have to be a relay, so we may want to just put this in. That does technically stick out of the fairing slightly. So I'm going to redo this fairing so that hopefully it doesn't. I hate that. Okay. Going to edit that again. So this would come in about here. Nope. It's coming together too sharply. There. That would work. So we would have communications so that we can check in and make sure that he's doing okay. We don't have any food or air on here. I'm sure he'll be fine. But beyond that, let's hire in our Kerbinaut. And there's no hatch on this, right? So he doesn't have a way to get in or out, I think. I do want to put on a docking port, though, now that I think about it. Yes. I want to put on a docking port. We're going to grab ourselves, say, someone with extraordinarily high stupidity. Like Rich Zon here. Or actually, Staney has slightly higher stupidity. Perfect. So we'll hop into the VAB here, and putting them in doesn't actually matter at this point. But they have been convicted. And I do want to put a docking port on here, in case we do want to bring them back at some point. So we'll put on a docking port junior right there so that we can hook back up. As far as the communications satellite, or the communications antenna goes, we can just put that there. It's not a huge amount of weight, so it should be fine. I meant to move it up slightly. About like that. It does not stick out of the fairing. All looks good there. We should have more than enough thrust to weight to lift this thing. We're going to be going into a retrograde orbit, but that should be okay, in theory. I don't think that'll be any major problems. The fairing will, of course, be deployed on its own. Let's check our staging here, but it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to send this guy right... Where are we? This one, Staney. There we go, into orbit. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadow Wolf, Mluhan80, Rogue Corvid, Kintogan, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Anna the Elephant, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.